So here we go, 2024. This is the first episode of the Men's Physique Recap UK. I'm really excited to bring this basic series back because the season started now. I'm actually going to start off this episode with a couple of interesting things that happened, but I'm going to go back to last week. I know this is old news now, but I'm going to talk about the battle between Diogo and Corey Morris from last week, give my opinions on that one, but also the Two Bros Regional, which just happened on Saturday, so just a couple of days ago. Man, it was a really stacked show. Basically, anyone that doesn't know, anyone that competes within the UK that wants to go for an IFBB Pro qualifier has to do a Two Bros Regional first. So there's one in 2 weeks, the Ben Weeder. So anyone that's going for a pro card had to do this show. So it was absolutely crazy high standard. Many of the classes were stacked. I was at the show, so I took a lot of pictures, got some good videos, and we're gonna go over it. This channel is for the competitors, basically. There's many people that compete within the UK that have phenomenal physiques. Sometimes the coverage isn't that great. So that's why I wanted to do this basically and show some of the physiques that are really up and coming through the ranks and what I believe that are going to get their IFBB Pro card within the next few years. And at this show alone, at the Two Bros Regional, there's a few of those guys. So yes, let's get stuck into this week's episode. Welcome back to the series. If anyone is watching this that hasn't followed last year's series, please feel free to subscribe. If you like men's physique, this is the place for you. I will be covering every single show if I can throughout this whole season. So let's get stuck into this week's episode and welcome back. So first up, the Arnold Classic UK last weekend. Now this was a really good show to watch. Unfortunately, I didn't go. I watched the live stream, and the live stream, it was amazing that it was for free. A lot of people watched it. The lighting wasn't the best. It was kind of hard to tell what was really going on there. So we had to wait for the pictures. Gilco was obviously there. Amazing footage. And also Tyler Mannion did his own recap, which he's been doing for many of the categories over some of the big pro shows, and it's really good for people to understand why the decisions are going the way that they're going. So I'm basically going off of what he said, because obviously he is the head judge at the end of the day, and it makes complete sense. So watching it on the live stream, after obviously the criteria coming out at the end of last year, legs are really important. Diogo won 2 weeks before. Diogo has got very good legs, and overall he is a balanced competitor. So for anyone that wasn't there and only was watching it through the live stream, you would think Diogo's going to win again. So there was a little bit of a split camp here when obviously Corey Morris won. But when you look at the footage back through Gilco, for example, some of the photos that have come out, and obviously Tyler Manion's review as well, it makes complete sense. Whilst yes, the legs are really important, the peak is more important, okay? If you're not peaked, if you're not in at your best, then someone that's bigger, got bigger legs, is gonna lose still. It's the same as any category. If you've got open bodybuilders, for example, if they just gave it to the biggest guy all the time, then Samson would win, right? Samson would beat Hadi, for example, but Hadi had great condition, he peaks really well. This is a very similar scenario at the Arnold Classic UK, where Corey Morris was 100%. He was really good. From the front and from the back, absolutely nailed it. And we know that Corey Morris, when he nails it, he is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, he beat Ryan Terry last year, for example, our current Mr. Olympia, in one of the shows earlier on in the season. So he's got the potential for sure. Now, Diogo, when he's 100% on, is also very good, and he actually has better balance than Corey Morris from head to toe when you take the legs into account. So at this show, he even commented himself on Tyler Mannion's post. There's a few things going on. He said it himself. He was only about 80%. So if you've got two guys that are next to each other, and one of them's peaked 100%, he looks awesome. The other one, not so much. You know, that's the reason why the decision went the way it went. And that's my thoughts and opinions on it, because a few people did ask. Now, a good question to ask would be, who would win when they're both 100% in? That would be a very interesting battle, because we haven't actually seen it yet. So at Ohio a few weeks before, Corey wasn't 100% there. So that would be a good one, because they've got good things going for them each individually. Like, for example, Corey Morris, to me, his upper is more men's physique. It's just more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. His back is very good as well. But he's not got good legs. He's not balanced head to toe. Diogo, he is balanced head to toe. He's phenomenal from the front, phenomenal from the back, but his midsection is pretty poor. So that to me would be a good battle when they're both 100%. And I'm sure we will see it probably at the Olympia. But for now, that's why the decision went the way it went, and I think it was a good decision. I thought I'd talk about that because a lot of people are saying now, oh, I don't know what the men's physique criteria is, what are they looking for? Yes, it's important that they have balance, but they need to peak correctly. That's clearly what Tyler Mannion's saying, and it makes complete sense. So next up, the Two Bros Regional. Man, what a show, what a show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each category where it's a pretty stacked class, and then we're going to go through the overalls as well. I knew quite a few guys that were competing in this show, and it was really good to see. Like I said, I was there anyway. We had 3 bikini competitors on in this Two Bros Regional, but I really wanted to just watch the guys as well because I knew the standard was going to be good. So first up, first class here, really tough. Again, there was 3 guys that stood out to me. Obviously, Pierce is in the middle. He did win this class, and then you had Adam Wallace to the left of him, and then you had Alex Nugent on the far left. I think he's called Alex Woods. I haven't actually spoke to Alex before. I know he's coached by Zach, and he is really good. So to me, it was just between those 3 guys. They really stood out. Pierce, I spoke to him beforehand. He's actually not quite 100% yet. He said he's 25 pounds heavier than his previous stage look, which is nuts. 25 pounds is a lot of muscle. You could tell he's not 100% in yet, but he still was good enough to win this class. Like, for me, it was his back shot. His back is very wide, it's very dense, and it looks like his back comes in before his front, because his midsection could be a little bit sharper, but he still took a nice win here. And he looked great in the overalls as well. Adam Wallace, I did speak to him before the show as well. He did a 7-week prep for the show, and he still looked shredded. He was he was the most shredded in this category. Definitely had the condition. Just lacks a little bit of size for Two Bros, because obviously they're going for whatever is closest to the IFBB criteria and the look, and he's just lacking a little bit of size there, but he's got a really nice structure, really nice shape, and really nice condition. His posing was good too. So he definitely held his own, a bit more size on him, and I think he's going to be great. And then obviously Alex. So Alex, I have been following his Instagram for a while. He's got a great size and density to his physique. To me, he just didn't look 100% in, which was interesting because I saw his updates probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I thought, bloody hell, this guy's going to absolutely smash it. But yeah, he didn't look like he's 100% conditioned, which obviously he's got 2 weeks until the pro qualifies, so he could 100% bring that. He's got the size for sure, so if he can get that condition, I think he will be pushing Pierce in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, all 3 of those guys look great. So next up, this category was really good as well. So obviously on the left-hand side here, you've got Gerard, who took the overall win. And then you've got Matt LeMay to the right of him. Again, it is just mainly between these 2 guys, in my opinion. Matt LeMay is a phenomenal competitor as it is. You know, he's won overalls in the past. He's been very close to winning his pro card in a couple of pro qualifiers he's gone for. He was just unlucky in this category. He came up against Gerard because Gerard was really good. But they weren't a million miles apart. And I think in 2 weeks' time, it's going to be closer because I think Matt could be a little bit sharper. So if you have a little look at their shots here, mainly this is the telltale. If you look at the transitional shot that I've got here, if we zoom in and you look at Gerard and you look at Matt, you can see Matt's just a little bit softer. But size-wise, Matt definitely keeps up with him. And I think this battle in 2 weeks' time is going to be a lot closer. I'm excited to see that. I know Matt's coached by, and Pierce and Alex actually, all coached by Zach. So Zach had a great showing at this show. Yeah, looking at this front shot here, yeah, Matt looked great. Personally, I don't know if he's going to watch this or not. Personally, if I was him, this front shot that he's doing here with 2 hands on the hips, it is a nice shot, but you've got to be sometimes strategic about who you're using it against. So it's always a good idea, in my opinion, if a couple of shots do suit you, to have it in your locker. I wouldn't have used this shot next to Gerard because Gerard has got a really nice taper. And although this is a good, like I said before, a good shot for Matt, it doesn't show his taper off very well, and it does make him a little bit more blocky. He's got great detail, but he's a little bit more blocky. So if you're doing that next to someone that's got great taper, it's going to expose that a little bit. So in certain situations, I think this will be a great pose for him, but next to Gerard, I don't think it is. So if I was him, sharpen up a little bit for 2 weeks, don't hit that 2 hands on the hip pose, and I think that competition is going to be a lot closer. Next up, this was probably the craziest standard of the show. This is Class D, and we had some great competitors here. So I'm mainly just going to talk about the top 3, otherwise this episode will be super long. So you've got Dwayne on the left-hand side of the chap in the middle. So the chap in the middle is Michael Kent, and he won the class. So the chap on the left-hand side of him is Dwayne. He is posed by Macca and did a great job there. He looked phenomenal. And on the right-hand side of Michael Kent, you've got Dre Daly, who is also a really good competitor. And he actually won an overall regional last year. And I believe he came third in his class. So this just goes to show how stacked this standard was. And then you've got Michael Kent in the middle. So this was a great battle between all three of those guys. To be honest, there was a few more in the mix, but like I said, I'm just talking about the top three, otherwise the episode is going to be too long. But yeah, they looked great, really different physiques, very different physiques. To me, the guy that came second and third, so Dwayne and Dre, they were a little bit more men's physique-like, but Michael Kent just brought incredible size, density, and also condition as well. If you have a little look at him actually, does that pose remind you of anyone? Does that look remind you of any? To me, it did straight away. It reminded me of Riccardo Crocci. Like, I think I'm saying his surname right, Crocci or Croce. Either way, I thought they looked extremely similar. So you can see why the judges liked it. It is an incredibly, like I said, muscular physique. And yeah, if you look at the back shot, he really did bring great condition. So although he wasn't the most men's physique looking, the other things kind of made up for it. And that's why they went with him on this day. Now in 2 weeks time, I hear it's going to be Maz that's judging the show. Maz does tend to go for a bigger look, or he always used to anyway. So it could play in Michael Kent's favor, but we shall see for sure. So next up is the tool class. So you've got Dan Pollard on the left-hand side, big guy. You got Simon in the middle. Shout out to Simon because he's a good friend of mine and he's really leveled up from last year. Looked awesome on Saturday. And I really apologise, I don't know the chap on the right-hand side. But yeah, Simon took second, chap on the right-hand side took third, and then Dan took first place. Yeah, Dan has got great size. He's also got really good condition. I think for him to place higher in the overalls, he might need to work on the posing a little bit more just to try and hide the waist a little bit. So the waist is a little bit wide. He's, like I said, he's got great things going for him, but if he manages to hide that and increase his taper more from the front, I think that could level him up massively, but not taking away from anything that he's done, because like I said, the condition was really good. And he brought a great physique to the stage. I know Simon is going for it again in 2 weeks time, and he's planning to sharpen up more as well. So yeah, they're going to battle it out again, I'm sure, in 2 weeks time. So the overall battle, now this was great. So moving from right to left, obviously we've got Pierce on the right, Gerard next to him. Then we've got Michael Kent, and then I'm really sorry, chap that won Class E. He was the only one in his class. I didn't catch his name. I'm not sure who that is. And then obviously Dan Pollard on the left. You can see how big Dan is. Absolute monster of a man. But you can also see what I mean about the waist. So yeah, if he manages to hide that a little bit better, I think he will do great in the future. Because in the back, look how wide he is in the back. He dominates on size, right? So yeah, he just needs to bring that waist in a little bit from the front. So now, this overall was really interesting. The vast majority of the time, you'll notice, Michael Kent stayed in the middle. The judges really liked him. Before this show happened, I had Gerard taking it. I spoke to Gerard before, and yeah, I knew he was looking really good. I didn't know how Michael Kent was going to look on stage, but he did look more men's physique than I thought he would, because a lot of his shots on my Instagram, even he does, bodybuilding posing. But this is where I think Gerard really took the win. And that's from the back shot. You can just see how much of a nice taper he has. Gerard just has really nice structure and flow to his physique. Looking at Michael Kent from the back, he just needs to work on a little bit more width. If he gets that width, that's going to help him out massively. And again, comparing him to Riccardo here, actually, I'm going to put the two shots next to each other. That's the one thing that separates them. Because from the front, they're comparable, right? But from the back, Riccardo's just got more width. That's what Michael Kent needs to work on as well. But yeah, the condition was definitely there. But yeah, as I said, looking at the overall, it's still going on. You can see Michael Kent is still holding that middle position. So I thought for a while he might take it. He does look more conditioned than Gerard in this shot. From the back, for sure. From the front, they're comparable. But yeah, in the end, Gerard gets moved to the middle and he takes the win. And it's definitely a well-deserved win. I think, in my opinion, Gerard should be a pro already. I know he had visa issues last year, and he probably would have taken it at that show where he didn't manage to get into the country, unfortunately. So there we go, there's the swap. And yeah, he managed to take the win. So in 2 weeks' time, there's things that all these guys can potentially improve on, and I think it's going to make it an even closer competition. Yeah, I'm really excited for the show in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to be there anyway. I've got a client in bikini again, so I'm going to watch the men's physique guys. I also want to watch the Classic Pro show. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm expecting to see many of those faces there again. Potentially some guys from overseas as well coming over for it. And we'll see who takes the card. So that is it. Thanks for watching, guys. It was great to be back on this, doing this again. I really enjoyed doing it. Next week, I believe there is a PCA First Timer show, so I will be covering that. Week after is obviously this Ben Weider, but also there is an Arnold Classic, I believe. I haven't seen the men's physique lineup. I'm not sure who's in it yet, but if it's a pro show, I will try and cover that as well. So once again, if you like men's physique, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. I will be covering these throughout the year, like I said, just to give some of these amateur guys a bit more spotlight and also to just watch them come up through the ranks, right? So my goal is to cover as many of these as I can. When they get their pro card, I'll be covering them their pro debuts as well, because like I said, many of these guys are definitely going to get their IFBB pro card very, very soon. So see you in next week's episode, and thanks for watching.